All right, tall girls, picture this. Hypothetically, you're single and into men. Oh, we are off to a rather interesting start already. You're on this date with a guy and he's tall too, maybe around your height, maybe he's a lot taller than you. Honestly, let your imagination run wild. And for context, this is a first date too. It's going great. You're getting to know each other, cracking jokes, getting flirtatious or whatever. Y'all are just talking and he whips out the "you and me would totally have D1 kids." And literally this man didn't even ask you if you wanted kids. Anyways, back to the story. You cringe and you're like, oh, yeah, or maybe you're into it. Who knows? This is a weird story, but you never know. Maybe this did happen to somebody. And if this happened to you, make sure you let me know in the comments. Anyways, I was trying to use this story as a way to warm you up to the topic of today's episode, which is talking about the whole D1 kids, having D1 babies comment that many tall women often get. And ultimately how some tall women don't even want to have D1 kids, specifically tall daughters. So let's get into it. Good morning, everybody. You are currently listening to A Tall Girls podcast, hosted by a tall girl named India. I hope everyone who's tuning in today is doing super fantastic. Before I get into this episode, I do want to say, make sure you follow me on my socials at A Tall Girls podcast on Instagram, TikTok, and Pinterest so that you can stay up to date on all of the latest podcast episodes and catch a glimpse of my everyday life. Also, feel free to leave me a review and let me know how tall you are. I'm genuinely curious. Also, I have a monthly newsletter. Make sure you subscribe to that. Everything is going to be linked in the description. I hope y'all are doing fantabulous. As I actually mentioned in my last podcast episode, I went to see Kesha last week. What? The short form vlog of that is already out on Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, etc. So make sure you go check that out. But honestly, it was such an amazing and healing experience. Okay. Not only, basically, Kesha was like one of the people who literally raised me, like got me through my childhood. So hearing all of the childhood songs, hearing her new album too, I was blasting that the week of the concert. And ultimately just seeing her at this part of her journey, because if you didn't know, she was in like legal battles for years at this point, trying to basically get the rights to her own music, and she finally got the rights to her music and now she has her own record label. So seeing her at this stage in her journey, and she finally just looks happy and she's like glowing and she's just like, yes, I'm that girl, because she is that girl, period. Just seeing that was just amazing. And then just seeing the crowd like, you know, cheer for her. I think she got like a 4-minute or like 6-minute standing ovation. Like just seeing that, ugh, chef's kiss, top tier, amazing experience. So if you want to see how that went down, I definitely recommend following me on my other socials or checking out my YouTube shorts if you're looking at this on YouTube. Now back to the episode. This comment is often thrown around in the tall girl world, and that is something along the lines of having D1 kids or D1 babies. Essentially, it's this idea that two tall people mate, or someone mates with a tall girl, or someone mates with a tall guy to create tall children. And it's often this stereotype that tall people are athletic, or tall people are supposed to be good at sports, and they play college sports. They get full ride athletic scholarships to schools, and maybe even go pro. And that is partially thanks to their genetics, essentially them being tall because their parents, or at least one of their parents, are tall. Let's hear a little bit more about this idea. Oh, and also just as a disclaimer, this next idea is coming from a man. So just letting you know.
Women like, oh, we want tall men. We want tall women. Yeah, it's a strat. I don't have money to pay for college. My children need to be Division I athletes. I was on Hinge filtering out all the heights. I was looking for Amazonians, bro. My first baby mama needs to look like The Rock. Yeah, it's called investing. Ever heard of it? 401k? Well, I have a son in NBA 2K. Start thinking the strat. LeVar Ball set the precedent. I get it. I see the vision. Your girlfriend should be stealing your hoodies. I be stealing my girl's shoes. I was in the club wearing Uggs. I was like, y'all see it? Y'all see me shining? I look like La Cienega Boulevard is in them. I be at WNBA games with binoculars and wedding rings, recruiting. We gonna figure it out. I need a father, Viltrumites. I don't know. Like, start thinking about your bloodline. Okay, I need some of these NIL deals. I'm finna figure it out.
Guys be like, dang, you're 6 foot. We should make some D1 babies. So you're 5'3". How are we gonna do that? That's not how genetics works, babe. It's just not how it works. I'm just not gonna be the one doing all the work.
I just want to say early on that a lot of the things that I'm going to say in this episode are my own opinion. I'm a firm believer of do what makes you happy. If you want to have D1 kids, go and have D1 kids. If you don't want to have D1 kids, that's also amazing. Whatever is meant for you on your journey called life, you know? I'm pretty sure a lot of tall women have heard this before or something like this. Oh, I want to be with a tall girl so we can have D1 babies. And for some reason, to me, this comment is just so odd. Have you heard that before? I mean, yeah, I guess it's supposed to be a compliment. Like, oh my gosh, your genetics are so fire. Or I would love for my kids to have some of your genetics. You have the ideal height genetics. Survival of the fittest. Oh, you're so breedable. Oh, I don't really like you as a person and I don't really care whether or not you want to have kids. Let's just make some tall babies. And that goes for both men and women, by the way. I don't know. I don't understand the fascination with wanting to mate with a tall person to make D1 kids or D1 babies. Like, I feel like people hear the D1 part, but not the kids or babies part. Like, you know that this is a whole human being that you actually have to care for. And this human being may not even want to play sports. I did ask you guys in a poll over on Instagram. And by the way, I'm going to do a quick little plug. Make sure you follow me at A Tall Girls Podcast on Instagram so you could participate in these polls and have your opinions heard on these episodes. But I did ask you guys in a poll, tall girlies, how do you feel when someone, a dude, tells you they want D1 kids? 25% of you said, I feel indifferent. 69% said low-key, it's cringe, like ew. And 6% said it's cute/flirtatious. Okay, indifferent, I guess, because it's like, like whatever. You know, y'all are just saying stuff, whatever, haha. The 6% who said it's cute and flirtatious, I don't know if I necessarily, I don't think I really agree with you guys, but you know what? Everybody has their own opinions and so forth, but I would love to hear the thought process behind it. But I mean, then again, some of the tall girlies also like saying that, like, oh yeah, like D1 kids, like you gotta be with the tall girls, so you gotta D1 kids, da 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 da. So some of y'all are all for that comment, I get it, but I'm kind of like the one that's like low key, it's cringe. And one of y'all did respond. Y'all sent me a DM and said, is laughing and finding it hilarious an option? And honestly, it is. Honestly, sometimes I think that laughing when people say the weirdest, cringiest things, that sometimes the proper response to that is just laughing. Now, is it like a hysterical laugh or laugh like, haha, like joke? Like, because I'm thinking like the hysterical going crazy laugh, like what is wrong with you? But hey, to each their own. Anyways, I couldn't really find any social media, specifically TikTok commentary on this, like people talking about, you know, or at least tall women talking about what they feel or what they think when people have told them, yeah, like you can make D1 kids or let's have some D1 kids or whatever. I couldn't really find any commentary on social media. So I went to Reddit. Reddit is always a good place to go if you want to get people's real, true, raw, authentic thoughts. And yes, that goes for tall girls too. But I don't know, maybe this is a sign to get some of this type of commentary on TikTok too. Maybe I'll do it, you know, before that app potentially leaves the US. But whatever, that's a whole separate story for a separate day. Let's get into these Reddit comments, okay? And this is going to be from a tall woman's perspective, by the way. I came across a thread titled, Being Weirded Out by Potential Boyfriends Obsessing Over My Height. And essentially in this Reddit post, they were kind of going into how, you know, their potential boyfriends or I guess potential mates or spouses or whatever were talking about having D1 kids because of her height. One comment said that it's weird as hell. I mean, compliments are okay, but if you're weirded out by them, they probably are behaving weird. The child thing, yeah, just walk away. There's no coming back from that. There was a response under that says it isn't even talking about children as that implies an actual discussion between two parties. It's a guy thinking out loud about the offspring you can provide him. Another comment said, while I think it is weird, I think men pull the kids comment to try to reel you in, although it's doing the exact opposite. Yeah, it is definitely doing the exact opposite. I'm only 5'8" and I've had a handful of guys say they want D1 babies and I'd be perfect. Weird AF. And just a last comment, 5'11" women here. I've had this happen to me so many times, it's off-putting. I've had a guy tell me my broad shoulders and long legs will make very healthy, athletic children. I felt like a piece of meat. You can almost see their wheels turning. It's like conceptually they want to be okay with your height, but they just can't, and somehow we have to bear the emotional burden. I hate it so much. And honestly, that last comment is really interesting. It's almost kind of justifying why they would be with the tall women. Like maybe they're just not attracted to tall women, or have told other people or even told themselves, hey, I don't want to be with a tall woman. I don't like tall women, but I can justify being with her. I can accept being with her. It'll be acceptable to be with her to other people if it's like, oh, we're going to have tall kids and we're going to have D1 babies. This is just so weird to me. I'm sorry. Like, I don't know. Like, what do you expect when you say that to us? Like, oh my God, like, yes, like, let's make some tall kids, like, right now. Like, I don't know who you are, like, what your credit score is. Like, I don't know what your criminal history is. I don't even know if you're employed or not. You don't even know my last name, but let's make some tall children. Like, I don't know. Is that all we think about when it comes to, like, finding a partner or something? Having tall children? What? Like, okay, I guess it could be part of it. Like, there are probably certain types of genetics you would want your kids to have, but I don't know. I feel like there would be more to forming a relationship with someone than just, you know, how your child is going to come out, if it even gets to that point. Anyways, from Reddit, it really just seems like the tall girlies are put off by these comments. Contrary to popular belief, some tall girlies don't want D1 kids. Isn't that crazy? Well, to me it's not, but we're gonna get into why. Tall women don't want tall daughters. Well, some of them. This is actually something that I'm hearing from one of you guys, and the reasoning behind that is because the tall women don't want their tall daughters going through the same things they went through growing up. A tall girly actually messaged me and inspired the topic of this episode. She said she spoke to a few other tall girls who spoke about refraining from having children so that those children wouldn't have to go through what many of us have gone through growing up tall. And there's one girl who is specifically looking for a shorter guy so her children wouldn't be as tall. And it's interesting to see two sides that, you know, we kind of discussed in this episode, that some of the tall girlies are looking for other tallies to have tall kids with. And then you have the tall girlies looking for shorties, shorter men to have children with, so their daughters, potential daughters, wouldn't be as tall, or their potential kids wouldn't be as tall. Honestly, I would love to hear your thoughts on that, but I kind of understand it because a lot of people, just like in general, tend to refrain from having kids so they wouldn't have to deal with the harsh realities of the world. They wouldn't have to deal with how messed up the world is. So I guess this is kind of similar to that, in that they don't want their tall daughters to kind of experience the harsh realities or the harshness of growing up as a tall girl and go through those struggles of bullying and the trauma and the self-esteem and confidence issues and so forth. So to kind of save their kids from that potential pain and dealing with that, and even blaming the parents for making them tall and making them the way that they are, for them to go through all of that. So to save them from all that pain and struggle and so forth, they're just like, might as well not have any kids or have any daughters at all. And there are some tall moms out there who kind of understand this concept or this idea. Let's hear from one of them.
I'm 6 foot tall, and I know there's a lot of women that are way taller than me, but damn is it, man. It is. I remember asking my mom one day, I was like, Mom, am I even a girl? Did y'all just decide that I'm a girl? She's like, chill, you are a girl. But seeing as my fiance and I are wanting for another kid in his family genes, it's possibly gonna be a girl next. So yo, I don't know. I honestly would hate for her to have the same that, you know, we went through, but we made it through, you know what I mean? Like, we're good. I love being an Amazon. I didn't realize that till, you know, in my 20s. People still ask if I'm a model. No, they don't. But you know, if it's gonna be a girl, then it's gonna be a girl, and she's gonna be like 6'5". And that's okay. We'll get her into volleyball.
And this kind of goes to show how maybe having a tall daughter can kind of affect the relationship between the mom and the daughter, or affect their relationship dynamic, because the tall daughter may grow up asking her mom like, oh my gosh, why did you make me this way? Why did you have to make me tall? Now I'm going through all of these things and I didn't even ask for these genetics. I didn't even ask to be here. But then there's also like this flip side where it's kind of like the tall mom may be projecting the perspectives onto her tall daughter that being a tall woman is bad, or being a tall woman is annoying. There's just so many struggles with that. And if the tall mom is showing the tall daughter like that, the daughter may be like, bro, like, why did you make me tall then? Like, why did you make me in the first place if you knew that it was going to be this bad and I didn't even ask for it? And honestly, it can make the tall daughter insecure or have low self-esteem or have low confidence, but then it also may cause, potentially, the tall daughter to resent the tall mom. And this was honestly a comment that was made in a Reddit thread somewhere. It was something along the lines of, being a tall girl is already hard enough. Tall daughters don't need their tall moms, adding to the complexities that she would have to navigate being a tall girl and trying to embrace her height and love herself and so forth, and just be comfortable in her body. And it's kind of like, if you know that that's your perspective, if you know that that's your mindset, then you probably shouldn't have kids, or you shouldn't at least have daughters, but you can't really control that. So maybe just refrain from having kids. But overall, I think that it's kind of mixed. There are some who absolutely love the idea of having a tall daughter, and there are some who don't really want their daughters to be tall. Let's hear from two different perspectives: a mom who's proud to have a tall daughter, and a tall daughter whose mom didn't want her daughter, or her herself, to be tall or as tall.
Tall girls, what's the best thing about being tall? My daughter is measuring in the 92nd percentile in height. She's a baby still, but I'm very excited that she's going to be tall. I'm only 5'4". My husband is like 6 foot something. So she is likely to fall between our heights, and I'm hoping it's going to be like 5'9", around there. I only know tall, confident, beautiful women.
My mom, she took me to this like doctor that had some kind of machine. It was like a machine where you stick your feet in, and it scans your body, and it's supposed to tell you how tall you're gonna be when you stop growing. And that machine said I was gonna be like 6 foot. And so my mom almost cried, and she was super, super sad. She was like, oh, I don't want my daughters to be too tall. And so she would always put it in my head. She was always making me worry that I was gonna grow and be too tall, as if that's such a thing. She would always make me carry all my textbooks in a big backpack, like a heavy backpack, so that it would stop my growth. And she'd make me like walk to school.
I did ask you guys in another poll on Instagram, assuming that you want kids, because, you know, we got to be respectful that some people don't want it and some people do. Assuming you want kids, as a tall girly, how would you feel about having a tall daughter? 61% said, honestly, I think that would be amazing. 17% said it would definitely come with unique struggles, but I would manage. 6% said, I don't think I'd be up for that. And 16% said indifferent. And honestly, I'm indifferent too. Like, if I have a daughter, if I have a son, if I have a tall daughter, short daughter, tall son, short son, like, whatever is meant for me will find me and be brought to me. I'm a firm believer of that. So I'm personally indifferent. But I think that it's cool that a lot of the tall girly stuff, that it would be amazing. I mean, I guess it would be an amazing experience, to, you know, I guess raise a child. I don't know. I'm like 23. So thinking about that, as a 23-year-old, I'm like, I couldn't possibly imagine myself doing that right now, but maybe later in life. But they're probably thinking, oh, like, it would be amazing to have a child, and then having like a tall daughter, like, oh my gosh, I know all the stuff for the tall girlies. Like, I know the tall girl problems. I know where to shop, everything. And it's like, maybe we could be partners in crime. You know what I mean? Because, I mean, living the experiences of a tall girl, if you love your height and love being tall and just appreciate other tall women as well, I feel like you would bless your tall daughter with that knowledge. I feel, there's, just as an example, Jordan, she is the founder of the Elevated Closet. There was this one video that went viral on TikTok for her because I think she washed like her daughter's jeans, but then she was like stretching it out after she took it out the wash. Because, you know, she knew like when she was younger and the jeans would like, I guess, shrink from the wash, like she knew what she had to do so her tall daughter doesn't feel like, oh my gosh, like these jeans are too short and da 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 da. So I think seeing like things like that, it's like, damn, like we out here looking for each other, looking out for each other. We out here looking out, well, not me personally, but y'all are out here looking out for your tall daughters. You know what I mean? So I guess in that way, it could be a very beautiful experience. But seeing that some people wouldn't also be up for it kind of also goes hand in hand with the point that was being made in this episode. Like, yeah, some tall women just don't want to put their tall daughters through what they went through. So I find these results very interesting. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. Honestly, shout out to the tall moms who are setting amazing examples for their tall children and helping their tall daughters love and embrace their height and everything they do for their daughters to help minimize those tall girl struggles. Y'all honestly deserve more than a standing ovation. But honestly, no shame to the tall moms who have tall daughters and the tall moms who don't want to have kids, or no shame to anyone who wants to have kids, no shame to anyone who doesn't want to have kids, tall kids, short kids, these kids, that kids. I don't even know what I'm saying anymore. But honestly, you should do whatever works for you and your partner. And if you hear like the comments about, oh, having D1 kids and I want to have D1 kids with you and this and that and the other, please like run for the hills. That is so weird to say, especially when you don't know the person. Like, oh, we could have D1 kids. Yeah, let's have D1. How is that a way of flirting? Why is using kids in any sort of way a way of flirting? That's just so strange. Like, compliment my height, compliment me. Don't try to compliment me through our potential future kids. I don't know. That's just weird. Anyways, I'm going to end the episode here. Thank you so much for tuning into this episode. I really appreciate it, and I appreciate you. Of course, as always, feel free to hit me up on my socials and let me know what you thought about this episode. What do you think about the comment of saying to tall women, oh, like, I want to have D1 kids with you? Oh, it's still so weird to say. Whatever. What do you think about people saying that to tall women? Have you, as a tall woman or a tall person, ever gotten that? Or what do you think about tall moms, some tall moms refraining from having kids so they wouldn't have tall daughters? Like, are you in that mindset too? Have you heard your friends or other people talk about this? I definitely want to hear all of your thoughts in the comments. Let me know. And thank you for tuning in up to this point into this episode. I really appreciate it. And thank you to all the people who are sending in requests for episodes. And if you want to hear like a specific topic or anything, feel free to let me know. You can DM me, you can comment wherever you are, and I'll try to include that in my episode topic list, if you will. And yeah, until then, I'll catch y'all in the next one. Good night and goodbye.